of all, I'm really excited to be with you guys. And I think because Aave and Marc is here, maybe they can talk a little bit about DeFi and what it is, because these guys have started it from the Ethlend days to Aave and now Aave V2. So Marc, probably onto you.
Do you want me to intro what DeFi is?
Yes, sure. I think everyone would like to know that.
I think if it all boils down to one very simple thing, is that giving back to the user the ownership of their own assets. So basically, we are kind of using traditional finance to, when you have some money into a checking account, for example, you basically do a free loan to your bank so they can play around with your money, and you get nothing out of that. And in a few parts of the world, you even pay to do that. And DeFi just changed the shift of powers between the liquidity provider and the borrowers, and say, okay, if someone wants to use my money, I should have a fair share of that service, because it's a service. And basically, you remove the intermediary, or at least the unnecessary ones, and every cent that is paid by our borrowers goes back directly to a liquidity provider. And all of that is permissionless, decentralized. Most of it happened on the Ethereum blockchain. And I think that's a good start for the discussion.
Hi, guys. I'm back. I'm sorry. My internet went down. It's not DeFi. Maybe that was the reason. So I hear you just started asking the opening question, what is DeFi for you? And just give a couple of sentences. So please just go on.
So yeah, was like defining that the main point for me is like giving back the ownership of the asset to the users.
For me, it's more like the industrialization of finance, right? So we in the traditional finance world, what you have is that when you go and have a mortgage, for example, right, the bank is gonna do it kind of tailor-made for you. Obviously, they have templates and things that they're gonna do, but the reality is that when you, for example, have something like Aave that allows anyone to be able to participate in this system, then what you have is that, you know, anyone can just go in, for example, fork Aave, change a couple of things, like, you know, start improving on top of it. All these Lego building blocks that we're doing, all these different pieces that can be composed together, all these different components that can become something bigger, only can exist because of the standardization of these pieces, and because, as I say, it's just so easy to produce new ones, right? So I feel like for me it's more about like, you know, when before it was more like everything was handmade, and well, it still is, right? Now everything is kind of pre-produced, and you can just like package it however you want, and you can do things with it, which, you know, creates new different products, new different concepts that we haven't seen before.
Great points. I agree, Albert. Harsh, did you go already? Please, if you went already, excuse me, but please go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I see DeFi as the next innovation over money, not like something that will kill money. So the way I see money is, if you look at the history, the paper money which we talk about, it's not even, this is not actually the first iteration of paper money. This is iteration 3 without gold. If you go back a bit further, you know, you had gold coins. But between paper money and between DeFi, there was another innovation that happened, which was credit cards. And all of a sudden, you guys, or we all had the ability now to pay service providers, even when we didn't had that much of paper money. Credit card opened up a whole bunch of avenues. Imagine if you guys had to go to Netflix and, you know, queue up with the paper money. That certainly is something which we don't like. Blockbuster days are long gone. And looking at that pattern, I see DeFi to be the next innovation. I mean, if you think about it, what paper money can do, gold coins weren't able to do, then what credit card used to, paper money cannot do. And then now DeFi, what DeFi can do, the paper money and of course credit cards cannot do. I mean, DeFi in general essence is decentralized finance. But if you look down at it, if you take the concept of flash loans, which are zero collateral loans, there's nothing like that which exists in the physical world. So it's an innovation over the current iterations of money which we have.
Great answer, thank you. And you already dropped some words. I hope we are getting there, like flash loans. I think this is really next level stuff. And from my experience is that for us it's very normal to drop these words, but also most people try to explain it. It's such a next level concept. So let's take it easy and slow, and I hope we'll have time to come there. Robert, what are your thoughts? DeFi in a nutshell.
It's an ongoing trend, right? That's been happening for, money's always changed for millennia, right? And Bitcoin came along 10 years ago, and it sort of was intended originally to compete against the original, the financial system. It's now turned into more of a store of value. And DeFi now is doing everything else essentially. 10 years ago, if you'd have suggested the idea of going out there and creating your own money, it would have been seen as, or let's say 20 years ago, it would have been seen to be absurd, but Bitcoin managed to do that in a way which is decentralized. And it's kind of serving as a sort of shining light to the rest of the industry to say it's okay now. We're seeing change, and we can start to disrupt other areas of the financial system. So that's payments, lending, exchange, derivatives, and everything else basically, and doing it in a way which is decentralized and which ultimately allows us to compete. And I think that's the key thing. It's all about competition in finance.
Great. So we've heard already quite some important arguments here, like automation, the next level of finance. Maybe it would be interesting for the crowd to understand a little bit what you guys are really, like, from what you just explained, working on, and maybe you can help us understand a little bit what exactly you do within your project, and maybe tell us a little bit about what the project is about. Marc, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So with Aave, we are specialized in liquidity markets. So basically, we are a financial middleware that allow people to provide liquidity and other kind of actors to take and use that liquidity. And they can use it in a very simple way. Like, people can provide liquidity, we call them lenders or liquidity providers, and other people in an over-collateralized way, so low-mat credit system, can borrow some funds and pay interest to the first one. So that's the simple stuff, and that's basically what was DeFi last year. And in 2020, we had a lot of innovation inside the ecosystem. So with the technology of flash loans, the ability to borrow inside a single transaction as many as you want, and since the version 2 of the protocol, as many assets as you want, so up to almost $2 billion with a few lines of code. You can do as many actions as you want inside the transaction and then give back the money, and you pay a fee for that. It's called a flash fee, and that fee goes to the liquidity provider. You can also use that base liquidity and that base yield that you get into Aave and use that as a building block. That's the financial middleware vision. And that's basically what a lot of application and cool stuff inside DeFi, that all the cool stuff that is behind me at the moment is doing. So for example, if you are Y-Earn and you do some yield farming, maybe we will have time to talk about that. Well, when the money is idled in your system of vaults, that money just doesn't sleep there in the form of USDC or DAI or cryptocurrencies. That money sleeps inside Aave because you get the passive yields of Aave, and on top of that, you get your active strategy yields. And those kind of synergy is a brand new thing inside finance, because decentralized finance created by the system of incentive and cooperation between the protocol, a system where cooperation is just more efficient, and you make more money on average when you cooperate with other protocol than when you try to work as silos and when you try to compete. And I think it's a huge financial revolution that we have a system that values more cooperation over competition.
Amazing, yeah, amazing, and all honestly very, very complex. I think so it's important that you really spend some time, and I can only recommend you guys try it out. don't only read about DeFi, try it out. Marc, you just mentioned flash loans. You heard it now several times. So for everybody who don't know, a flash loan essentially is a loan that happens within the block time and has to be closed within one block time, right? So you can do many crazy things, and you could even say this is kind of loan that never happened because you open it and you close it. Maybe Marc, give us a little, like, for your mom. How would you explain a flash loan to your mom?
Oh, my mom doesn't understand how to use a computer, so that's a tough one. Can I try with my dad? He's an engineer.
Okay.
So a flash loan is basically a line of credit. Basically, it's a line of credit. You can use money. You have to use it in a very fast way. And if you use it in a profitable way, you will end up with more money than what you borrowed. So you can pay back what you borrowed, keep the difference for you, pay a small fee for the service, and that's it. And if for any reason what you've done with the money doesn't provide you more money at the end, because it failed, because the arbitrage, because you try to buy an asset in one marketplace to sell it into another marketplace for a higher price, and the trade didn't execute it for some reason, the transaction failed. And that's why it's really interesting as a financial project, because flash loan only exceed when they succeed. Because if for any reason the transaction doesn't end up in a situation where you made money, well, the whole system will reject the transaction, and it's never included inside an Ethereum block and never exist into the eyes of the blockchain. So we only have one kind of flash loan, the successful flash loans.
Thanks, Marc. Thank you. Robert, do you want to go next and tell us a little bit about Fuse and about your role within Fuse?
Yeah, so I deal with partnerships with Fuse. I've been involved with the project for about 5 months now. Came on board as an advisor originally, and then moved more and more into the team. It's an open source technology stack that's focused on empowering literally anybody to compete in the mobile payments industry. So we're competing against the likes of long-term PayPal, Stripe, that kind of thing, Visa, MasterCard. Why not? So we've got at the base level, we've got a high throughput, low fee blockchain, which is bridged to Ethereum. And then we've got a easy to use interface called the Studio, which allows anyone to customize their payments community, as we call it, to mint their own token if they like, or to import existing Ethereum-based tokens, and then to put things in, integrations such as fiat on-ramps, to put both, incentivization systems and schemes, and then of course we've got the wallet, which is focused on onboarding users. So it's really about allowing anybody to compete in the industry. We've had huge traction so far. So over 2 million transactions in the last few months, given that we went public in October with the public liquidity release. Well over 2 million transactions, over 100,000 wallets downloaded, amazing projects all over the world, in Spain, in the UK, in Peru, in Trinidad, in Thailand. We had a huge festival just 2 weeks ago, over $1 million transacted over 3 days during the festival. Over 15,000 transactions with some amazing projects going. We think we've got a good chance of competing in the blockchain-based payments industry, but then the wider payments industry in general. Yeah,
that's fantastic, right? There was just you guys had the cooperation with the Mystic Valley Festival here in Thailand, right? That was on the Thailand mountains, exactly. And you enabled the whole payments on the festival. Is that correct?
Yeah, so everything was done. So food, drinks, merchandise, activities, everything was done through Fuse. It was a really easy deployment in the sense that everything was set up. In a sense, they forked the wallet, rebranded it, launched it on the App Store, on the App Store, on Google Play, under the Bitaza company, which was the partner we worked with. Added customizations that were festival features in the wallet that were made for the festival, and in the space of 3 days we had huge success. Everything, all payments were run through the wallet, so it was a very successful deployment.
That's amazing. Happy to hear crypto adoption is happening, especially because now that we talk about DeFi, it's always so funny that it's going back to finance and really to kind of a nerdy
Exactly.
niche. So I really love to see examples that have exits in the real world. Albert, What about you? With StakeOn, you're the CEO of StakeOn. So what the role is clear, but what's the mission?
So I'm sure you all have been hearing about like Ethereum 2.0 staking, for example. No, so staking is a technology that allows people to not have to spend a large amount of energy kind of finding what the next block should be, right? It's just like blockchains use proof of stake as a way to get organized and who should be voting as the next node, instead of just using the hardware trying to find 18 zeros at the beginning of a hash, right? Now staking is an important technology that's going to be coming even more and more every day. All the new protocols are actually going to be using proof of stake. So Ethereum 2.0, Radix, Avalanche, Solana, Polkadot, all these guys. Staking is important. The problem is that when we're discussing DeFi and with the growth that we're seeing in DeFi right now, DeFi has a real product market fit for the users, right? So like users really want to be using projects such as Aave to be able to borrow against their assets. That is important for the users, right? So users essentially have to choose. Do I want to be locking my assets on staking, or do I want to be using my assets on DeFi? What we're doing right now is we're tokenizing a staked asset so that you can be earning from staking while participating in DeFi. So for example, right now, an Ethereum 2.0 load costs more or less like $19,000 right now, right? Would you like to just buy a fraction of it, just go into Uniswap and buy some STETH? Would you like to capitalize on it? Well, just go into Aave, deposit some STETH, and then you're going to be able to get a loan from that STETH while the STETH is actually distributing rewards. So the way this works is just by holding some STETH every single day, you're going to be getting more rewards directly to your wallet. So this is a rebasing coin. That's why that's how we distribute the rewards among as many people as necessary with a single transaction every single day. But it's just like the simplest way to be able to eat the cake and have it too, right? Like be able to earn from staking and be able to earn from DeFi at the same time. Yeah, that's what we do. We right now are officially partnered with Dash, with Nem, with Matic, with Radix, with Zcoin. We're trying to bridge to build as many bridges between layer 1 protocols and DeFi as possible, so that you have a choice. Essentially, you can be participating in other layer 1 protocols. You can make the most of it within the DeFi ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the cake example, and obviously I love that we're moving forward also with Dash. Because for me, the way I always explain it is that, look, it's like having a bank account, and you go to your bank. If you lock away your money for a couple of months, most likely you will get a little higher interest rate, right? So in crypto, it's a bit of the same move happening now, but now you don't have to lock away your money. You just can copy the money and you can use it for something else, right? So as Stake has this masternode system, we're producing yields on this Dash blockchain. And now we are taking this and enabling essentially those yields on the Ethereum blockchain, you could also say, right?
It's much more democratizing as well, right? Like right now, like a Dash masternode costs what, $70,000, something like this, right? To just have. A lot of people can't access that, right?
100,000.
100,000, imagine, right? So like by allowing people to just go to Uniswap and buy some ST Dash, just a fraction of a node, and knowing that they're going to be getting the rewards regardless, it is just allowing anyone to participate in that market, not only the whales to be able to participate in that market, right? So for me, like decentralized finance is not just like decentralized, but actually democratizing finance. And this is, in our opinion, a very, very good way to achieve that.
Amazing. Harsh, what about EPNS? What are you guys up to, and what's the game plan?
Sure. Felix, and by the way, I think Albert just described yield farming. But yeah, EPNS, Ethereum Push Notification Service. So what are we building? Well, we are building a decentralized middleware, or a middleware protocol, through which dApps, smart contracts, or even traditional service, they can send notifications to wallet address. This is a problem which blockchain still has, and that is communication to wallet address, and we are here to solve it. Some of the cool things which we are doing along with that is we are making, and because this is on blockchain, so This is, of course, platform agnostic. The end goal is that MetaMask or Trust or similar wallet support us, though we already have our apps and we are already live on Roxy network. But yeah, the cool part about these notifications is that we made them incentivized. And that is actually where Aave comes into the picture. We already have a grant from Aave and Matic. And of course, we closed our seed funding a couple of days back. But yeah, the way incentivized notification work is how Marc just described it, that you have some tokens or some stable coins. So what we do in the protocol is that whenever these services or smart contracts, they want to send notifications to their users or their wallet addresses of the user, the very first thing they have to do is they have to activate themselves on the protocol. And the way they can do that is by depositing this some amount of stable coins to the protocol, which we then lend out to Aave. And of course, as Marc was telling that, once you lend something out to Aave, it starts generating interest. And that is exactly the same thing that happens on our protocol as well. And once the users who want to receive these notifications from a service, they opt in, they get a part of the interest. So it's kind of like connecting or touching the DeFi aspect in a way, what EPNS is doing to make sure that the users, they are able to receive notifications and they are able to earn from it as well.
So, yeah, I gotta say, from my personal experience, it's really complicated to keep up with stuff in DeFi because it's so, it's very easy to forget, oh my God, I put money in this and that kind of yield farm, right? Suddenly your browser crashes and oh my God, it's like, what was the name? So I'm happy to have something like that. I really feel it has a purpose at this point in time. Very, very good. Guys, all of you have amazing projects. I feel 2020 has changed a lot in the blockchain space. I keep saying that for me, 2020 is finally the year where blockchain is more than just a dream. It's really running applications, protocols, products, services out there. So I was really blown away by many of the projects I have seen this year. Year in finance was already mentioned. That's definitely for me a lighthouse project in terms of what it's a very simple use case, straightforward, and you can see how hard that hit the market, and everybody obviously understand it, and it's like, wow, what's happening there? What are for you the top 3 projects? Marc, you want to start?
Well, it's very hard to only say 3. I mean,
we have only 1 hour, unfortunately.
In which category? Only finance? Like, it depends of the category.
Choose wisely. Just 3 and a quick brief intro what they do, maybe.
I can cheat, because if I say why earn, for example, I basically, with all the merger and partnership that happened, I basically choose 8 because you have inside why earn, you have sushi, you have acro, you have pickle, and all the other ones. So that's one I have my eyes on, and I'm a very huge fan of what SNX does. And they are just about, if we believe of what is happening in the GitHub, about to release a major update on the mainnet on the layer 2 of Ethereum. So that will be for me the next step of DeFi, because what happened this year is that DeFi proved a product market fit and proved that there's a user base for this kind of services. There's some demand, but right now, let's face it, the harsh reality is that if you have less than $2,000 or $2,500, it's not worth it to use DeFi. And that's a huge problem, because what you will gain from DeFi will be completely obliterated by the transaction fee. And DeFi in the next few days or weeks have some kind of large-scale innovation.
A problem, if you like, for years. I personally worked on DEXs back in projects linked DEXs back in 2017 through swaps and automated money market making. And this idea of incentivized liquidity provision, I think, was a huge breakthrough and something which was mega important for the space. Fuse, by the way, has also, we forked Uniswap. We've got our own version, so FuseSwap, which you can check out. Allows people to transact with low fees. Another project for me is Nexus Mutual. So insurance on the blockchain. Obviously, insurance right now is focused particularly on some of these high yield earning protocols and insurance safety there. But I could really see utility for that in the real world very soon. So I can see sort of short-term utility for Nexus Mutual and protocols that are similar to it. I won't show Fuse. Another one that I'll say is loopering. So order book based trading. We've got things like Uniswap and KyberSwap right now. They're awesome to buy tokens. They don't allow you to day trade tokens necessarily. And I think that stuff like loopering is we're going to see a lot of traction. Obviously, we've seen quite a bit so far. We're going to see a lot more traction with that kind of thing going into 2021.
Thank you, Albert. What are your thoughts?
So in terms of like massive innovations, right? Like, so AMMs are massive innovations. Decentralized lending is massive innovation. There's a lot of different things that are happening there. But I'm sure you all know about this. There's a lot of different projects that are struggling as well, that they're not so out there, and that like are bringing massive innovations as well. For example, one of them for me would be Melon protocol, right? So allowing people to have a decentralized hedge fund where you can just have, you can just set up a fund, you can allow people to invest in you, you can use this money, to invest in other things, and they know for sure that you can't run away. For me, that is absolutely a game changer. Until now, it didn't have sufficient maybe number of assets. That was a problem. I think that they're not going to be changing that, but it's for sure going to be one of the most important things going forward. For me, obviously, on the scalability side of things, I was the chief product officer at Radix DLT. Scalability is critical. We need 7 billion people to be in the same layer one, in my opinion. You need composability. It's the essence of DeFi, in my opinion, and you need composability on a single layer. I don't know how we achieve that if we don't have a highly sharded environment, freak sharded space, and so on and so forth. The last one, I mean, I don't know, like there's really so many different innovations that are happening as well. What I would like to see very much is us being able to trade actual like normal commodities and stocks within the blockchain directly, right? So I believe that Synthetix is going to have a hard time doing that, just because, well, the team is known. Regulation is going to be very big problem. There's a couple of brokers that are trying to do this. Like one is like Cap Finance, that's trying to build essentially this from a completely anonymous point of view. The problem is, if they're anonymous, like, can you trust them? Can you not trust them? Like all these different things take time to be kind of demonstrating into the market that these are solid solutions. So yeah, a lot of innovations, a lot of things that are big, and a lot of things that we don't even talk about that much that are super important, in my opinion.
Very interesting. Harsh, do you have any projects to add that were not mentioned yet? Or even from the ones that were mentioned?
Sure. Can I cheat and call my a very first coin, which is backed by Ether, and it's still stable. So it's a stable decentralized coin, which basically created the entire DeFi space. So those will be my picks. I realize there are 4 instead of 3, but yeah.
Thank you. And actually, it brings me directly to my next point. Like if we talk about DeFi in terms of, now we have kind of a money Lego, and I strongly believe in a sense that's very true. And it's also true because the whole financial system we know is kind of built like that, right? You need some base layers, you need stuff in place that you can build something else. It's, you cannot just launch a stock market. You need an order book to launch a stock market, right? But now you mentioned many things that are kind of new building blocks that enable other things. We mentioned automated market maker, a decentralized hedge fund, right? Obviously needs something like that in the background. Obviously oracles are something that are super important. Yield maximizers are one building block that enable a lot of use cases. So from your perspective, what are kind of the most important building blocks, and where we really need to go further? Marc, you want to start again?
I think I want to react to what Albert said about we need 7 billion people inside the same layer. We need to have access to give access to DeFi to 7 billion people. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense, because I think we all share like the same ethos to have something that is decentralized, distributed, permissionless, and accessible to as many people as possible. And scalability is a way for that. But I think as the 2021 will be the year of the expression and the democratization and expansion of the layer 2 solution and the sidechain, you will end up with like some kind of shards. You have some protocol that is there, some protocol that is there, and so on and so forth. And what makes DeFi strong at the same time is what we call the composability. The fact that Earn deposit the vault money inside Curve, and Curve deposit their money inside Aave, and then you end up with 3 yields instead of 1, because you get the Aave and the Curve and the Earn yield. And if Earn is on Matic and Curve is on XDAI and Aave is on I don't know the OVM, well, you lose all that because you have to pick one, and that was not supposed to work like that. But it's a tough problem to balance things out, and I think the solution is also already here in terms of technology, because now you have like the batch flash loan and you have the credit delegation. So let's say you have a position inside Matic, and in Matic, which is a very good project, to the best of my knowledge, you have to wait for a week to withdraw to the layer 1. What you can do is that using credit delegation, you can withdraw to a smart contract inside the layer 1, and basically that smart contract will give you money on the layer 1 right now. You don't have to wait, but you will get slightly less money because you will pay 1 week of interest and or a very small fee to do that, and your money is available right now. And in 1 week, the smart contract inside the layer 2 will withdraw directly to the layer 1 inside the smart contract that lend you the money to pay back your loan on autopilot. But you're already long gone, because it's been a week that you already have the money, and maybe switch from 5 other protocols and 5 other chain to do your stuff. And people don't realize how seamless DeFi is becoming, and all the technology is bringing more composability and fluidity of the assets to the crowd, to the point of, I think next year, a lot of people won't understand anything about the blockchain. They're just going to use the apps because for them it's going to be decentralized or digital saving accounts that makes much more than what the boomer banks propose to them. And they won't care about the technology because great technology is invincible. And I think we're getting there.
I couldn't agree more with the last point you just mentioned. I think every single technology we see out there, usually people can't explain it, people use it, and there's good reasons for it to use it. Albert, do you want to react to what Marc just said?
No, I mean, I think we agree that the thing is, the problem, we agree on the problem, right? Composability is essential to DeFi, and that's kind of where, you know, there will be some fragmentation regardless, right? Available to an essentially infinite amount, like millions of transactions, hundreds of thousands of actors doing size loans, automated work on a single, let's say, 100,000 TPS network. It is not enough because taking the whole space of that, right? Like the moment that you have any type of bottleneck on this, because no, I'm not saying it collides. I'm saying it doesn't allow other people to participate.
Well, you can batch things, I think, but yeah, I agree with your point.
Yeah, it is like I do believe that having a layer 1 that allows you to have everybody, like regardless of the amount of people, the more nodes, the more throughput, rather than breaking it up into different shards that are not composable. That to me is a fundamental problem, that because of your amazing technology, we will get there. The problem is it doesn't matter if we're doing 7, 14 or 14 million transactions per second, because like with your technology, we're going to get there. We're going to need that, right? And
yeah.
Let's get not too technical, guys. It's
Yes,
Yeah, especially this flash loan thing. It's always so funny. There's so much articles out there on flash loans, and it's really so. It's like it's kind of so niche, but it has become so big, right? Because the story to tell here, I feel, is also so big. I mean, what's happening, and very, very interesting, definitely. Robert, what are for you the most important building blocks, and what do you think we need to see more to see DeFi work better?
I definitely can't speak with the same level of technical expertise as our friends Albert and Marc here, that's for sure. I think everything this just shows the beauty of open source, right? Because we talk about priorities within DeFi, but we've kind of flipped things on its head a little bit. In the business world, in the sort of, in the traditional, let's say, enterprise software world, we start with a problem and then we try and find a solution, but we need to ensure the solution works pretty well because we can't constantly iterate with that kind of technology. With open source, we can. It's complete, everything is shared. So we're constantly trying to iterate on what other people are doing and trying to find better ways of doing things. So the priorities now that things move so quickly in DeFi and in blockchain in general. So the priorities we have right now might not be the same priorities in 3 or 6 months' time. I think one of the biggest, in terms of building blocks or Lego blocks, I think one of the biggest innovations is oracles, because it really spreads right across the industry. This ability to track to put price oracles in place, something we're using, for example, we target 1 cent on the dollar transactions with Fuse, and regardless of the amount, whether it's $1 million or $1, you pay 1 cent per transaction. And it's something we'll be implementing with a Oracle provider such as Chainlink or another one. So I think that's a huge innovation, something which can also be used for our AMM for Fuse swap. But yeah, it just shows the beauty of open source, right? This ability to constantly tinker and deal with things in a very sort of scientific manner, and constantly try and come up with new ways of doing things without it necessarily without it costing millions of dollars to try new things. We can just try things basically, and that's what I love about the industry.
Thank you, Harsh. What do you think? Anything we forgot in terms of building blocks? What are for you important things?
Sure, definitely, Felix. So, just on the side note, that was a really interesting discussion between Marc and Albert. And I do agree with Marc on some aspects based on the game theory, but again, not going to go over there, but I would love to, get into a different brainstorming session, because that's the beauty of open source. If you feel that something is not working, you can pitch it out, and if it really isn't working, then you can start to create solutions for it. That's how we have gotten here. I mean, 10 years ago, blockchain didn't exist. So yes, that's the innovation. For the building blocks, I feel and I see a lot of pattern whenever it comes to tech. So I already see the building blocks of Web 2.0 or the traditional services. And you can see that, there are many services offering many different type of things, like you have Google Analytics, and they are one building block of your website. Then you have some widgets, then you have, your technology stack. And that's how I see DeFi to be progressing as well. You'll have protocols that will be able to handle a specific thing, like, for example, Aave for lending or borrowing. Then you might have oracles, which will handle the pricing, like how you have Chainlink, and so on and so forth. The beauty of DeFi, is that all of a sudden, anyone can try a different philosophy on the traditional bank. And if, as game theory dictates, if it's liked by everyone, then, it will be adopted. And that's what is so fascinating for me. And that's where I think we are headed.
Mm-hmm. Directly answering to this, let me maybe play for a moment now the devil's advocate here, right? DeFi is so big and it's so hyped this year that kind of, if you're in blockchain, there's no way around DeFi. Yet, if I talk to anyone out of blockchain, it seems nobody ever heard about decentralized finance. And if I ask people in the blockchain space, like really people I know for a long time, and they're active since 2015, 16, something like at least mid-game early, it seems only a few people really have tried it out. Like everybody kind of heard it, but you know, if you then ask 2-3 questions in direction what we were talking here, it's so specific that usually, yeah, no. Have you ever tried farming on Sushi or Uniswap or whatever? I was like, no, I didn't. Okay, so, but why not? Yeah, I don't know. And then many people who have tried farming or using any DeFi products, I feel they were super hyped between somewhat May and September, and then suddenly were very frustrated, saying, you know, this stuff doesn't work. It's so expensive. I spent $5,000 in transaction fees, and you know, my transaction was just canceled a million times. So, and then even looking at the user base, and that's for me actually the strongest point. If we look now at the user base, it's kind of a joke how many users are there in DeFi, right? Compared to, let's just take the big platforms, Coinbase, Binance. So, I mean, what do we have to do to make really DeFi a mass adoption thing? What are your thoughts on that? Maybe Harsh, you just want to go on?
Sure. I mean, what to do to increase the user adoption? So over here, I mean, we have to remember this was the same thing with Bitcoin. You know, in 2011, not many people would have heard about it. And then the network effect took place. And, you know, because Bitcoin was a better way to manage money, you know, right now we all love and use Bitcoin. I see the same with DeFi. I mean, it can go both ways. So I see going it at the other end and, you know, becoming adopted. And here are the reasons for that. As I said, you know, any technology you want to adopt, when it's invisible, that's already been put out, and when it's 10 times better. And DeFi does that for you. I mean, if you look at the interest rates which are offered in US, sometimes bank offers negative interest rate, almost not as much as what the current DeFi offers. I'm not saying that it will go on for long, but for even right now, you know, if you consider an APR of 5% or 6%, which is very, very modest, it's still much, much better than, you know, what banks offer in certain countries. And India, of course, you know, you have a higher interest rate, but that is also going down through time. So all of a sudden now you have a global bank that can offer a global interest rate on stable coins. So you're not usually looking at speculation. And that to me is a better feature. It's a better technology. So, you know, of course, time will decide whether this takes the route of Bitcoin or Ethereum or, you know, it goes down. But to me right now, I'm extremely bullish in DeFi, and, you know, I look forward to trying all the protocols and all the smart contracts and, you know, making sure that, you know, just like how we solve scalability, we are able to solve things as they happen.
Yeah, great answer. And honestly, it's also always my main argument is, you know, look around you and how do you save your money? And then like, yeah, I have it on my bank account. It's okay. Let's talk. That's usually the point where people start understanding that stuff. Albert, what are your thoughts? What do we have to do to make this thing fly to the masses?
I think it will happen by itself, essentially because of the partners that, like the people that are already in the space, how they are pushing things, right? But in my opinion, it's mainly about the user experience, right? People don't know or want to care about their keys. We can tell them and we can educate them on the thing, but the problem is they don't want to take on that responsibility. That's always going to be stopping people to do that, right? People are very comfortable downloading a mobile application and just like putting some like wiring some dollars from their bank directly, exactly. Wiring some dollars directly into this application. That's something that is very, very easy. So what I'm really keen on seeing, and there's a few of them that already do this to a very, very good extent, like I don't know, like Celsius, for example, or like there's a few of them, is that you can kind of have an interface that's just like the mobile application that's just going into the world of DeFi and making all the magic there, right? Precisely on behalf of the client, right? I think that what we see right now with Yearn, for example, I am a user of Yearn and I'm a user of many, many different protocols that I never use personally because Yearn is an interface for me, but I'm a bit geeky, so for me it's fine, right? The moment that you have a mobile application, like let's say WhatsApp, for example, that has a Yearn interface, and people can just like immediately say, hey, I want to open a savings account for this much, that's going to be blowing up, right? But like, it needs to be scalable first as well, and that to me is still a blocker. The fees are a massive problem. I think Marc was saying before, like less than $2,500, you can't even participate. Like it's just like you're paying $50 for a single transaction exchange on Uniswap. It's ridiculous, right? But at the same time, all the innovations that we're seeing, like this democratization of finance, like it's all about pools, right? You provide liquidity into a pool. You always have find ways to make money from that, and that's something that didn't exist before. So by itself, will find product market fit, and I believe, and will on itself just create all these different things. But yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, for me it was also a bit funny that suddenly Binance launched Binance Smart Chain, and if you use it, it feels a bit like
out of nowhere like I did this year. He has now experienced the full bull market of 2017, spent all of 2019 traveling around the world to conferences. I was working with Cointelegraph at the time, well involved in the space. And there was this moment in around May or June this year, we'll try and find out what we understand, Wi-Fi, understanding what was going on with Uniswap, all of this yield farming and stuff going on. It was manic. So if it's complicated for people like me who've been in the space for a long time, I can't imagine how complicated it must be for brand new entrants to the space when they arrive on sites such as Wi-Fi or other, and they see all these numbers flying around, and then they've got to use MetaMask and transfer funds over, and you've got wrap Bitcoin which you can send over to Ethereum. I mean, it's crazy. So there's the innovation's been amazing. Now there needs to be a usable, and otherwise it's C5 will continue to reign for a long time.
Love it. Yeah, actually, I just tried to explain to a friend yesterday how to do it, and these alone you have to the whole book before see the
try to take a screenshot of what DeFi is today, because nobody will believe you in June next year. Because at the end of the day, everything you describe, obviously, it's gonna happen. It's not a possibility in the future. It's going to happen. And I'm saying it with deep confidence. DeFi will reach that point very soon, because very, very soon, people will just have an app on their mobile touch there.
Perfect. Thank you. Robert, what about you?
Yeah, thanks again, guys, for the awesome discussion. If you go to fuse.io, you'll find me on the About page. My LinkedIn is open. My Twitter is open. And I also Telegram community. You'll find me in there as well. We can discuss openly in the chat there.
Amazing. You're awesome, guys. Thank you very, very much.